So we have all these components that we've made and practiced, and now there's a few ways we can use them. We could do something like this. Did this in a rectangle shape so that it could be scanned and used as a holiday card. You could write Happy Holidays in the middle, or add a family photo and print and make your own greeting cards for the holidays. Or, I don't know, paint something else in the middle that you want to highlight. This could be kind of a border. You could also do this in more of a circular shape and make it a wreath. It could be a gift, just a watercolor painting gift. It also could be a card with some sort of greeting, either painted or written in the middle. So I think because of the shape of the space that I have right here, and because I've already done a couple of wreath painting tutorials, I think I'm gonna do it as a rectangle, similar to what I did as my practice. And I'll show you how I did it. And then if you want to do something similar but in a round wreath shape, there's plenty of tutorials online. You also could look at the ones that we did earlier. One was just leaves and one is flowers. Similar idea, and similar to what we're going to do right now, except you do it in a circle instead of a rectangle. Or you do it with evergreen and winter components instead of spring flowers. So I have a rectangle just ready to go right here, so I don't feel like I need to use any tape to mask it off, or I don't need to kind of draw my shape. I'm just going to keep all my components within this shape right here. So I'm going to start with some of the bigger components, and then get smaller and smaller. Still have all the same colors mixed up here from before, so I don't need to make any more colors right now. I'm just checking to see what color blue this is. I don't think I'm gonna need that at all. Okay, so let's start with some of these like foliage, eucalyptus, or whatever you want to call this little branch here. I'm gonna do that first. And I'm gonna do it probably 6 times. We'll see how it fills up the space. So we'll start with the branches, and I'm kind of working in this shape. It is gonna be kind of an oval shape in the end. So I'll make a branch here, and then I think I'll do another one here. I'm just gonna map it out. And you could do this with a pencil if you want, or just go for it with the paints. I'm leaving room in between so I can add other things. And if you wanted to use this as a card, then definitely make sure that your paper is the right shape and size. If you want a card that's the right proportions for like a 5x7 photo card, then definitely measure it first and only paint within that shape. Mine is definitely, gosh, what is this, 9 inches wide, and it's probably 6 inches tall, so this would have to be cropped and changed if I wanted to use it as a card, but right now I'm just using it as a way to practice my painting. Okay, so when you're doing these kinds of wreaths, it's important to make all of your shapes either go in the same direction or start in one spot and work your way around to meet at the top. You could do it that way too. I am gonna make mine go all the way around for this one. So I'm just gonna start adding the leaves, and I'm probably gonna have to rotate this as I go, so I'm gonna get ready for that. So I'm just gonna do the touch and push technique from before and make the leaves work their way around. add just a little bit of this other green in too to kind of give it a little more depth. Okay, I'm just going to keep going around and around here. I'm making these stems a little darker as I go. I'm also trying to change the angle of the leaves so that they're not all identical. It's a little tricky, but it looks nice. Let's see. Trying really hard not to set my hand down in the places I've just painted. So down here, I didn't leave enough room. And so these leaves are really gonna have to curl in, which is fine, but a reminder to myself for next time to leave a little more space at the bottom. I should have had the branch a little higher up. That's what it looks like. Oh, let's see now. Last one. And then I need to go back and darken those branch stems a little bit still. I ran out of this turquoisey blue that had a little black in it, so I'm going to mix up a tiny bit more here. Okay, now for those branch stems. Okay, now it's kind of up to you what you add in these other spaces. I'm trying to decide which way looks like it's the top. Like, will it go this way or this way or this way? I think maybe like this. So that I think might help me decide what to add where and how to fill in some of these spaces. I know that I want to add, let me show you the one I did a couple days ago. I know I want to put some berries in. I know I need some things that are frilly. Thinking about a pine cone, or maybe two. So I think I'm gonna do a couple of kind of cedarish looking branches first. And then I'll do berries, and then I'll see what I'm thinking about for a pine cone. Pine cone might look kind of cool right here. So actually, I'm gonna save this spot down here for a pine cone. So I'm gonna do some of these cedar branch sprigs right now. So I have this dark brown. I also still have this kind of yellowish brown. I'm gonna do this yellowish brown, and it's gonna look like that. So I'm gonna do These ones are a little more time consuming, but that's okay. So this space up here is pretty small, so I'm gonna have to just do kind of a small one. I'm gonna have it go between, kind of branch off that way. And same here. Trying to follow the same general angles of this round shape. Ooh, that got big. There. Okay, and then here. And also keep in mind what you're planning to use this for. Maybe this is just for fun and it's just practice painting, that's great. If you're thinking about turning it into a card or something like that, really think hard about how much space you need to leave in the middle. I'll put some here probably around the pine cone, but I'll have to do that after I figure out where the pine cone's going. So now I'm gonna take, oh, this green's looking so bright, isn't it? I'm gonna tone that down a little over here in the brown. And a tiny bit of brown left over, so I'm moving this over to it, but you could also just add a little bit of brown to the green that you have. So tiny little sprigs on each of these cedar branches. I kind of like the contrast of these tiny branches with the bigger leaves. Kind of a nice combo. Okay, I'm just going to keep going with this color and then I'll go back with that darker green for the other needles. Okay, darker green, and just a little more here and there. I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna do the pine cone next so that I can kind of make a plan for that space. Now for this pine cone, we started out with a really watery brown and I added yellow to it, so I need to make that color again. That's pretty good. I'm gonna water it down even more. And I'm gonna use a small brush because I think I might end up doing 2 pine cones here. We'll see. I'm gonna put one over this way. Remember, it starts with kind of a teardrop shape at the top. And then they're almost like flower petals the way you add them on. I'm gonna try and make the ends of them a little bit rounder this time. I don't really want them to look real pointy. And also, remember, this is the base color. So we're gonna add some darker color on top. And I'm trying to keep a little bit of white space in between so it doesn't become just a big blob. And they're all slightly scooped, a little bit rounded. I'm taking off a little bit of the paint that's where it's really thick. Okay. It's pretty good. I think I'll just do 1 cone. Okay, next is a slightly darker brown. I don't have that made anymore either, so I'm just gonna touch into the brown in my palette. And it's really an orangey brown, and we've been doing a yellowy brown. So I'm gonna tone it down with this darker blackish brown. And then dip my brush in water to tone it down even more. And now this gets touched in just in the corners of each of these, and we'll let it spread. and then leave it alone for just a minute. Okay. Let's do some branches with berries because those are fun. So the dark brown will be just fine. And I know I'm gonna want one over here underneath the pine cone. So I'll put one here for now. And maybe I'll do two. I need to add in a little bit of this cedar also, but I'm sure there's room for that. Okay, and then some of these will just need to be short. So I'll do one right here, just a little one. And then another little one over here, and maybe in here. Okay, and let's see, one could be here. And this is a good little spot. Right here. Once we put the berries on, this will really show up, and then I'll be able to see if there's anywhere that really looks like it could use another little pop of red. How about a small one right here? Okay, now for some red berries. Just like before, I'm just gonna use the red right out of this palette. Nice bright, bright, bright red. And we'll leave some of the berries with a very small bit of white showing, but some can just be filled in completely. So I'm gonna start up here so I don't have to put my hand in the paint afterwards, or accidentally set my hand in a wet spot. Oh, I can turn it. Let's turn it. Okay, now I'm gonna look and see if it's looking symmetrical or what it needs. I think I want a little teeny berry over here and over here. So let's get the brown again. This one's just gonna be real short. And same over here. Okay, now for the last layer on this pine cone. It's a dark brown with some black so that it's a step darker than what we put on already. And it's pretty dry, so I might need to re-wet, but we'll see. Just gonna put it on here. I'm still working down towards the bottom of each of the shapes that I made originally with that really light, that yellowish brown. Just adding dark at the bottom of each of those shapes still. And trying to keep it pretty irregular because the perspective we have on it, each of these pine cone parts has a slightly different shape to the next one. Okay. I'm gonna call it good. Okay, one more, couple little sprigs here of that fluffy cedar, and I think this is done. I'm gonna break my rule and we'll see how it turns out, but I'm gonna take this sprig heading this way. So there will be some cedar over here. And I think I want to take it over here too. Like that. We'll try it. Kind of like something to kind of cradle that pine cone.